Welcome to this video series ahead of Photo Studio Operations New York 2022. The event is taking place on May the 4th at the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel, and in this video series we'll be talking to some of the speakers from the event, some of the sponsors from the event, asking them key questions and one slightly more light-hearted one as well. I'm delighted to say for this episode I'm joined by Fulmer, who is the Vice President of Operations at ShotFlow, a lead sponsor of Photo Studio Operations New York. Thank you for joining me, Eric.
Of course, Tom. Glad to.
As I say, we've got three key questions, so I'll get straight into it. Eric, what do you think are the big challenges facing photo studio operations today?
I think that you look at the last 2 years and say it has completely disrupted all the plans that were in place. All of the strategies were broken. And in a way, that disruption has shown the fragility of a lot of photo studio operations supply chains, you might want to call it. So whether it's availability of samples, availability of talent, availability of process that can adapt to not having people all on the set at the same time, as an example. All the things that the pandemic has brought in 2 years are in a way accelerations of problems that already existed and exposing those problems. And I think that the challenge is that we've been in a reactive mode for 2 years, entirely reactive, just incoming firefighting all the time. Again, everything was sort of thrown apart. I think the challenge is now becoming proactive and saying, how can we then begin again, in some ways rebuild from where we've been? And it's an opportunity, I think, that when things get so ripped apart again, and all of your best laid plans, come to nothing in some ways, it's a chance to kind of start anew and say, how do we do this going forward? And what did we learn from all of that fragility that was exposed when we couldn't operate studios in certain cities? Again, we couldn't get people, we couldn't get samples, et cetera. What does that tell us about how we need to go forward?
The event is taking place in person once again. That's sort of one of the issues I think you addressed there. That's on May the 4th at the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel. What are you looking forward to the most about the event itself?
It's this community coming together. It's a very isolating thing, even when you don't have a pandemic, often to run a studio, because it's this kind of rogue operation where it's usually not at the corporate office, it's somewhere else, it's in, some warehouse area of town or something. It feels, I think, often like you're forgotten in some ways. You don't necessarily have the support you want from your internal technology partners or your other parts of your business. People don't understand the problems and the challenges of this space. And I just think it's so valuable for everyone, myself as a technology vendor, people that do this every day, people that are consulting in this area. It's a community of people that care about this problem. And when you come together as a group, there's an energy that comes with that, where we all are going to leave focused on what we can do next and where we can be empowered to make change. And that's been hard, again, of course, ongoing, but the last 2 years have just been so ridiculously isolating around this community. And so I just think that community coming together is going to be so exciting for me. That energy that comes with it is always what I take away from these kind of events.
Coming together in the Big Apple, what are your favorite things to do? What are you looking forward to doing in New York on May the 4th?
So I've been in New York a lot over the years. I've never lived in the area. Always a very happy tourist to be in New York. I think it comes back to kind of what I talked about with the community. There's an energy in New York City that if you go out on the street, you walk around, it's a buzzing, a kind of humming of that city, that it's energy, right? There's things happening. There's always something going on, right? That's the classic New York, right? And it's true that when you come into that city, you see also this innovation and this transformation that happens. I think the High Line is a great example of that. Walking the High Line, which was this, railroad trestle that was turned into a park of all things, just an amazing transformation. It just shows the power of what we can do when we focus on solving problems, when we look at what we can do to turn something that maybe is old or not working into something that's new and powerful. And again, I think that applies a lot to the kind of challenges we see in photo studio ops. So it's just a great city to gather in. And I just love walking anywhere. I love looking at the architecture. Every 2 feet, you have a different photo you can take of a different combination of architecture. So I do that as well. But I'm just excited that we can finally, sit down together and really attack these challenges, because they're significant and they're only getting more acute as time goes on around content creation. So it's a great place to go. It's a great place to be, and I'm very excited to be joining the community this spring.
Yeah, you can join Eric and the team from ShotFlow on May the 4th at the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel. Thank you very much for your time, Eric. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you there. If you book before April the 1st, you can save $100 with the early bird price. Hope to see you at the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel on May the 4th.